So just to get started, we are so excited that you're all here, could make this call. We know it's not always easy to carve out an hour of your day, no matter what time it is of the day. So we appreciate you all being here and being present. We love your input and just sharing our updates here at FoodSocial with all of our creators and brands. And so just to dive into like a Q1 recap, because I know we haven't had one of these since I think January was our last one, right? In Q1.
Right.
And so it's been a few months since we've talked to everyone or all of you in one place. We've chatted back and forth individually, but all in one place. And so we've had some exciting news through Q1 with new brands. So we want to welcome Mesa DeVita, Sip Herbals, Pasha Chocolate, and Healthy Rican. And we would love for if we have a few brands on this call, actually, if you want to give like a 30-second spiel of what your brand is, and why, what your brand is and who you are, that would be great. Does anyone want to go first?
V, why don't you
Um,
go first and give a little intro for Pasha?
so I'm with Pasha Chocolate, and we are a vegan chocolate company that is very certified. We're actually the most certified, as far as we know, chocolate on the market. And we offer everything from no sugar, like just 100% cacao, down to 55%. So the consumer can really sort of pick from no, low to better for you options. We also have chips. And actually, the company, the parent company, also has another brand called Lobo that they just launched, which is the first plant-based milk chocolate. But I'm with Pasha Chocolate. And before that, I've worked with Otto's cassava flour. And then I was a brand many months ago, Paleo Boss Lady. Now I'm just loving my job. I actually have to say, I think I work for some of the greatest people ever. And the thing I love about Pasha the most is that everything is made in Peru. Our packaging, our chocolate, we source our raw materials there, which chocolate melts. So that's a huge undertaking, especially when you have, shipments sitting out, in Miami and you can't get it off the boat. But the owners are very committed to supporting the country where the raw materials come from and the communities which grow the cacao. So their moral lens is really strong, and I just align with them whole heart and soul.
That's awesome. And we also love Pasha Chocolate. So thanks for sharing all of that. And then we have two not so new brands on the call, or representatives from the brands, which is the new Primal and Georgia Grinders. Jacob, would you want to do a quick intro for yourself?
Yeah. I'm Jacob. I'm the director of brand marketing here at the New Primal. We have two brands. We have the New Primal. We have Noble Made. Sure you've seen our buffalo sauces. It's the old label. It's what I use for other purposes. But and then we also have our New Primal brand meat sticks, which are all like zero sugar meat sticks. So yeah, I guess that's it. Also, we have a board meeting deck prep call in 20 minutes. I'm going to hop off at 2:30, just FYI, so I'm not rude, but thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, hop off and do what you need to do. We're just glad that we got to see you specifically and everything, hear about the new Primal and Noble Made. Jamie from Georgia Grinders, would you like to do a quick intro?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Jamie Foster with Georgia Grinders, and I am excited to be on today. These are typically held in the evenings when I'm shuttling kids all around town activities. So thanks for scheduling one in the afternoon. I'm excited to listen and see what you guys have to say and get updates. But for those of you that are not familiar with Georgia Grinders, we produce premium nut butters in Atlanta, Georgia. Everything from almond butter, peanut butter, cashew, pecan, hazelnut. And our focus is on creating simple, clean nut butters with no added sugar or oils. Don't have a lot of funky flavor profiles out there. Have 5 SKUs that are Whole30 approved, and we ultimately focus on creating recipes to get the consumer to think outside of the jar and allow them to create something sweet or savory with our nut butters.
Awesome. Thanks, Jamie. And big welcome to all the new brands, but we love, of course, every single brand that we have on the platform and love seeing all of you. And now we have a few new creators that we want to welcome, who not all of them are on the call today, but the Real Food with Jessica. So Jessica from, I should have said that the other way. Jessica from Real Food with Jessica is a new one. Date Thy Plate, who is Priyanka, and she's on the call. And then we have Dave from Paleo-ish, and then Dirna, I so apologize for butchering that name, from Cook to Nourish. And so we want to welcome all of you. And Priyanka, do you want to give a quick intro? I know I'm putting everyone on the spot right now, so you don't have to either.
That's okay. I just took myself off of the video because I was having some lunch. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm Priyanka. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. So some of the brands are relatively new for me, but some are not. But yeah, I moved here like just before pandemic from the States, so which is why I know some of them. And I share recipes, somewhat Whole30, paleo, healthy-ish recipes on my page, Date Thy Plate on Instagram, and recently learning TikTok as well. But sharing on there and just life and travel stories. But thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Priyanka. And so welcome to all of our new creators, and big kudos to everyone, our current creators and brands who have recommended, which recommended different creators and brands, which is how we often find creators and brands to join the platform. And we are always looking for any connection that we can make to grow the platform. So thank you for those of you that have made those connections for us. And just a little quick roadmap of what today is going to look like, sort of. So we want to talk through some platform improvements ongoing and some new features that we want to work on in Q2 and through the rest of the year. And we really want to focus on how our team is creating scalable onboarding measures so we can accelerate the growth through the remainder of the year. And so that's been a really big focus for us this year, is just like making scalable changes so that it's easier for us to onboard people, it's easier for us to make connections and get everyone up and going as quickly as we can, and as easy as possible on both ends for creators, brands, and the FoodSocial team as well. And then we had an exciting trip to Expo West, which Bill is going to talk about real quick.
Yeah, that so when we last spoke in January, this was a little bit on our radar, but it wasn't official that we were all going. And then about a month before the expo, myself and Haley and Pooja all got tickets to it, and we ended up meeting up in Anaheim, and just had a very, very fun time. The three of us, meeting up, working together, getting to see some brands that are on the platform, as well as meeting some new ones. I think when the dust settled, we'd had between 50 and 60, different meetings with brands. And we actually also got to see some of our creators on the platform as well too. So it was a very fun time. And we were also able to get some interesting insights into some of the challenges that brands are facing currently, in that world. It's the Expo West crowd is a little bit more brick and mortar focused. But a lot of those brands are also doing direct to consumer. So it's an interesting mix of approaches that are happening. And I'm not sure if any brands that were there want to share any of their experiences from Expo. I'll leave that open-ended. You can raise your hand if you want to. But it was a fun time, and we really enjoyed our whirlwind trip to Expo. So that was like smack dab. Actually, it wasn't in the middle of Q1. It was in early March. So it feels like it was a long time ago, but it actually wasn't. So I will actually, so that's sort of the update on that. Nice surprise. I'll keep going because we're going to dive into our 2023 roadmap here. So we saw some really nice growth in Q1. I think everybody got to see those stats there on the reports that Tony just sent out last week. And so I actually don't have them here with me, but Tony, maybe just give us the headline bullet of what the growth was in Q1.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are a couple things when we look at just overall traffic to the site, and we look at it two metrics. How are we growing compared to the previous quarter sequentially or year over year? And we were over 200% growth over last year in the first quarter, so it was fantastic, both in users and in page views. So all of your recipes are getting a lot more views and users to the platform. And also sequentially, we continue to grow. I think it was probably about 20% or above 20% in the first quarter compared to the fourth quarter. And that's a fantastic result considering the fourth quarter is usually a very strong recipe focused traffic for us. So it was a great quarter, and it's looking very solid again at the start of the second quarter. So.
Yeah, I that's not on our playbook for today, but I'm glad you were able to speak to that, just because it really does sort of put a bow on what Q1 was like for us. We saw nice growth, and we are actually continuing to see that ramp in Q2 here. We're having a very strong start to Q2. And so for the remainder of the year, some of our roadmap items are, the ones that are related to engagement. Sorry, I'm reading off a sheet because I would never remember all of this otherwise with dad brain. Really relating to engaging the end user, right? The people who are recipe consumers. We want to implement these push notifications. I know that some of this is a little bit of some stuff that we covered in January, but we're continuing to look at these things. Push notifications, really getting to the lock screen so that people who follow your profile on FoodSocial get notifications when you share a new recipe, a new post, a new meal plan, a new product. Any of the tabs that you see on your profile page, those would be things that would send notifications to the people that follow you. We also want to expand messaging on the platform as well as commenting. There are a variety of ways that we can tackle that, but just wanting to continue to expand the way that our community interacts on the platform is very important. We're also looking to provide a calendar integration, a native calendar integration for meal planning. So not only native, but also maybe tying into popular calendar platforms like Google Calendar. And then, of course, probably the most important one, I think, is the customized home feed for users, so that when they come to the platform, they are getting the latest and greatest recipes, meal plans, products, posts from the people that they follow. So there will be, I would think, a pretty significant overhaul of the homepage. If I had to guess, probably Q2, Q3 here. So coming up, making sure that when people visit, they get the latest and greatest from people that they follow, which is the way things used to be for many of us who have been doing this long enough. Kicking it back to Haley here, maybe I think Haley's going to give an update on things that we have planned for the community. And I'm going to share screen because some of these are going to be a little bit more interactive.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So some of you may have seen, most of you should have seen these couple pages that we're going to walk through here really quick, but we just want to make sure that you know that these are available resources for you to share with people that you might think might be a good fit for FoodSocial, and just for you to really look at them for updates in between town halls, because we know waiting between quarters is a long time to get major updates. So we want to be able to update you in between and know that you're getting the latest information where you need it. And so this is a page that we're calling Plated, and this is just kind of like a look back at the last couple quarters, but this is a page that we really do want to keep updated with our like newest stats, newest just everything in here. So if you look at it now, it goes from its last quarter, I believe, and then this and the quarter before that. So we're just going to keep kind of piling on information, so you can look back over throughout the quarters of what has changed, what's new, what's how we're growing and things like that. So this is a great place to just check for big kind of updates like that, new brands, things like that. And then we're going to go to the Take a Bite page, which I think is a very, very useful page for all of you that are looking to connect with creators and brands, or connect FoodSocial to creators and brands. So this is a page that we've created. It's for, you can click down on the buttons, the blue and the red button, and it'll take you to whether you're looking at for a creator or a brand, and it just really lets them know like what is FoodSocial all about. So the first section is the creator section, and like why a creator would join FoodSocial. And we really want you all, if you're connecting creators to FoodSocial, to speak on that yourself, but this just gives a high level overview of like what FoodSocial is, how creators can monetize their recipes, and things like that. And then, so this is a great resource to share with, like, if you're talking to a creator and being like, hey, I think FoodSocial would be a great place for your recipes, you can send them this just so it's a quick, easy one pager they can read, and ask questions to either you or us about. And then the next section will be the brand section. And again, if you want to connect a brand to FoodSocial, or if the brands know of a brand that want to connect with us as well, this is another great page for just, again, a high level overview of like what FoodSocial is, what brands get out of it, the contextual marketing, it explains that, how we're different from other social media platforms, and why why they would join FoodSocial and why it's a benefit to them. So if you are talking to anyone that wants to be connected to us, this is a very easy page. It has all the language in there that you would need to explain FoodSocial, and they are able to click down here and say, I'm moving my mouse like I'm controlling it, but they can click on learn more, and that'll take them, they can schedule a call with us, and we can get them all set up or answer any questions that they might have as well. So it takes a little bit of the lift off of you all, our community, just to come up with like the right language, or what that can feel overwhelming. It feels overwhelming for me sometimes if I'm trying to explain something that I know is really valuable, but not quite the right words. And so this is a page that you can share for that purpose.
It's the easy
button.
Want to learn? Yeah, it's the easy button, right? Like, want to learn about FoodSocial, or you want to tell somebody about it, just send them this page. They can walk through it and sort of learn about it, and you don't have to really think about what it is.
Right. And then, sorry, I'm also reading off of our thing today to make sure I'm not missing anything. But just for a reminder that creators get community points for connecting us to creators and brands. And so if a creator or brand that you recommend does join, you will get 50 community points for creators and 100 for brands if they join. And so if you don't remember, community points kind of translates into those stock options that we've talked about. And if you have any questions about that, please let us know. And by the way, you are getting 50 points for being here today. So it's just another way to get involved in FoodSocial, is connecting us to those creators and brands. And then another update is we will be reaching out to creators and brands both to get some quotes on like what you are loving about FoodSocial, what is your experience, things like that. We've reached out to a few of you, and we appreciate you getting back to us, but we really want to get a quote from everyone, or if you're willing to give us a quote, we would love that. So stay tuned for that.
And I don't want
and then
to forget, I don't want to forget, we had actually asked Penny, and I'm not sure if we asked anyone else to share about what they've just the things that they've been doing that they have found to be successful in being a part of the FoodSocial community. It didn't land on our outline for some reason. I kind of think I think we forgot to add that, but I did remember that we wanted to share that. And so maybe we just like pause and just give Penny and anyone else that has felt, you know, like they've found great success in being a part of our community, just a chance to sort of share that, because it's actually really interesting to see like what people are doing and what they find to be very helpful there. So just so that we don't forget, because I just remembered that, and it could be a good time to actually do that. So Penny, are you still there?
I'm here. Yeah, so basically what I try to do, and it works for me, may not work for everybody, but if like you have a blog, one of the things I do is like I put my recipe into my blog and I immediately put it into FoodSocial at the same time. It doesn't take a lot of time. That way I know that it's in both places. Even though I concentrate on promoting FoodSocial a million times more than I do my own blog. But yeah, and when I share a recipe on Instagram, I always tag FoodSocial and share the link there, so that when people click on the tap bio, it takes them right to the recipe, which brings them right to FoodSocial. I try to do that in my stories as well. And basically, I also have the benefit of being admin on 2 Facebook groups. So I promote over there as well. And I think that really helps. I know not everybody has that, but that one of them is an audience of close to 30,000. So it's really helpful. And, you know, we share a lot of recipes over there. Actually, the other one is Haley and I together. We recently started a new group, and we're sharing a lot over there too. But as far as Instagram, I try and always tag FoodSocial and link them over to my recipe. And that's basically what I've been doing. And I think it's going great. It's been pretty successful for me. And I've been sharing that with some of the creators that are on here that aren't on the call today too. Some of them that I'm friendly with, just to try and get them more active in FoodSocial. So
No, it's great. And thanks for being willing to share that too, just because it's been really fun to sort of watch your success grow on the platform over time. And I think it has to be helpful for people to hear about the way you think about it comprehensively, and how that's led to, you know, really nice success and value for you as a creator. So thanks for sharing that.
And I actually, I don't know, this may not be for everybody, but with somebody else who was on this platform who I'm very close with, feels bad about not being as active. And I actually shared with them the monetization that, you know, has grown for me since I started, and they were floored. So I'm hoping maybe that will entice them to be a little, you know, participate a little more. But I think just sharing that with everybody it's helpful to get people want to be more involved. And, you know, the old saying, money talks. So
thanks, Penny. We love that you are sharing it with everyone and continuing to talk to creators and giving them tips and tricks, because we know you've had a lot of success.
thank you.
And one thing along with the quotes is that we reach out to people every once in a while, just like to get feedback on certain things. And the Take a Bite page is definitely one of those that we've reached out to a few of you. And if any of you have feedback outside of the ones that we reached out to, we would love to hear it. I know Michelle, Penny, Vic, Reed, you've all given us some really great feedback. And so if you're looking at any page on here and think that we could change something or have an idea, we would love to hear your feedback. So we always appreciate that as well. And then kind of what Penny was going off of is we would really we love when you all tag FoodSocial in your recipes that you're posting on Instagram. It gives us something to share. We love sharing your recipes, and another way to do that is the collaboration. And so you can tag people and do the collabs on Instagram, and we love when you do that. So don't forget that is always an option to share your recipes with our audience and your audience, and kind of double dipping in both of those. That it's super helpful to us, and we found I know some of you have found a lot of success doing that on your own page as well. So just wanted to give you a reminder on that. And then I think we're going to jump into another really exciting update is the portal, which Bill will share the screen on. And this is a very version 1 of it, and Tony will talk to it a little bit more, but I want to touch on the very first part of, we were talking about the other pages with some announcements and things like that, but eventually we would really love this portal to be where we update you on everything. And so as you can see at the very top, the announcements, just like today, the Spring Town Hall, we would love to have different kinds of announcements in there. And just to make sure that we're all communicating and transparent across everything, so that you all feel a part of the community and a part of what we're doing. And then when people join, if you've joined recently, it's kind of a lot of emails back and forth trying to get everything up to date. So we would love for when creators join, just kind of all the information be in one place. Again, streamlining everything that we've been doing for onboarding so that we can really ramp up the onboarding efforts towards the end of this year. And then, Bill, do you want to scroll? And then same thing here, and is just general info of like what you can expect to be what you can expect to be coming up, brand discount codes, collaboration opportunities, whether brands are looking for creators or creators want to work with brands or creators wanting to work with creators. We would love to have that kind of as an open forum in here so that we can all find what we're looking for and wanting to collaborate in different areas. And now I will toss it to Tony, who did most of the work on all of this.
Thanks. Yeah, so one of the things I mentioned on the last town hall is that we would come up with a version 1, a V1 of bringing the analytics so it's more real time for all of you. Quarterly is definitely not, ideal, and especially when you've done some sharing on social media, it's nice to see the impact and what's working and not working. So we actually have created an embedded report from Google Analytics, which this is a sample creator that may or may not be on this call. And basically this is the same type of data that you're getting in your quarterly report. For the brands may take a little bit longer, but for creator, because the reports are a little more complex, but the goal is to get reports for the brands as well. And this will be on a personal page so that it is protected. It's your data. And so we want to make sure that you can see it at any time. If you can scroll down a little bit there, Bill, this is just a look at recipes and page views unique. This is the same data that shows up on the report, and it'll give it to you. Right now, this is set up to be the last 30 days. And again, this is a V1 that we put together. There probably will be a couple more pages, and you'll find out exactly where it is for your own. And the charts here, this is basically looking at the past 7 days and also the past 30 days. If anyone, this is actually a page we should share with you. It's just a sample. And then if anyone has input on what could be valuable from a reporting perspective, let me know, and we'll see if we can include that as well. But it'll be updated automatically, And so it's not real time like every second. We'll probably do it, some of the reports daily, or at least weekly at the most. It depends on how complicated it is. But we're excited to be able to give you the data that, transparency is what FoodSocial is really about on all aspects. And so being able to access your data real time is something that we're really trying to do. And along with the portal, having a place where you can have additional data, like how many points do I have that's going to convert to stock options at the end of the year, and things of that nature. We'd like to make sure you can have access to all the time. I think that was about it. Any questions on this? These are just different charts, and they are embedded. They will update already. So it is an active page, but it's still in. We'll fine tune it in the beginning of May. Each one of you creators for sure, and hopefully all the brands as well. We'll at least have some of the reports where you'll be able to access and see your data.
Thanks, Tony. And Pooja, who is not on the call today, wanted to touch on one thing that we mentioned earlier this year, which was philanthropy. This is why I don't talk about it, because I can't even say the word. But she really wanted to get that started this year. And, with everything mainly Expo, we kind of pushed that back a little bit, and we're still working on it, getting it up and running. But she has created a Slack channel and added anyone that wants to be a part of it. And so if you're not in there and would love to have some input on FoodSocial philanthropy, and everything else to do with that, we would love to add you to that channel. So you can let Pooja or I know that you want to be involved, and we will gladly add you to that channel. And just know that there is some upcoming stuff coming this quarter and the next quarter, to really kick the ball off. I am losing my words today. I'm so exhausted, but to kick it off. And we would love to have everyone that wants to be involved. And now we are going to go to Michelle, who is working on something exciting with Pooja.
It is exciting. And I will say, I'm really touched to be a part of it. In the last town hall in January, we had talked about and I can't say it very well either, philanthropic arm of FoodSocial, which I think is exciting. But we also mentioned and talked about a podcast. And Pooja and I will be co-hosting that. And I am just, with the history of my mother doing her own radio show back in the day when it was like a real thing in a studio with headphones, she did that for 25 years. And it's just kind of a warm fuzzy for me. So super happy to be involved with it. And Pooja and I, it's ultimately about the food. And after the showcases that we did, like in the summer and in the fall, we just found that there are so many stories around food and people's history and why certain recipes sing to your heart and what motivates you to share that. And there's conversations around that I think they are driven, and they will create instant connection to a recipe and a person. And so we have a lot of balls up in the air and a lot of plates we're trying to figure out. But for right now, we are trying to come up with a really clever name. So you can, on Slack, drop suggestions to Pooja and I if you'd like. It's got to be, we want it to be oriented, so it's got to ring to the what we already have going with the take a bite and all the things we have going. So we're working on a name, but it's really important with the podcast to not be too broad. We want it to be pretty focused so that you can target a specific audience, because there's so many podcasts out there. And if any of you happen to listen to podcasts about food that you really enjoy, you can also drop some suggestions that way. But For now, we're just working on, we want to try and have it ready to go by Q3, I think. That's what we're shooting for. And so there's a lot of things to finalize in terms of editing software and equipment. And my son had a really successful podcast for a couple of years just last year. And so he's been a great asset to me to find the right kind of software and the equipment that's not like ridiculous, but also really good. So that's kind of what we're heading towards, and it will include brands. So ideally, it'll be interviewing our creatives, our brands, and there's stories behind everybody's food language, I would say. And food, I like to say it's a language we all speak, but we don't know the history and the stories behind so many. And they're really, after I think our fall food, our social or showcase, we were so touched with some of the stories we heard. I think there were even tears involved. So that's how meaningful so many people's stories are. And I just think to give it a platform to share that, I think will be really good to give some recognition to FoodSocial and to the different creators and brands that are involved. And I just think the potential, it's a lot of fun. And so Pooja and I are excited. To me, I'll have to edit my voice a little bit. Pooja's is so soft and calming. She's just got such a great quality voice to speak. And I feel like I'm like on a megaphone most of the time. So I'll have to try and match that somehow. But it's really, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So super happy to be involved with it.
Yeah, we're really excited to hear it, but be involved in it as well, and really support you both in doing that. It's one thing that we've been wanting to do for a while now, so we're glad that it's getting going this year.
Yeah, and it, we'll play out more. I mean, after Expo West thing, I think because it just happened, it kind of, which was great. I wish I could have gone. It just was not, I ended up getting COVID and anyways, but I just think it was a great opportunity for the team to get there, but it kind of, slowed things up for the trajectory we had. And so we'll get back on, and it's a lot of fun work, but it'll take, there's lots of, like I said, little bits and pieces that have to line up to start making it happen. But I'm assuming we'll just start reaching out to different creators, or if you all want to be a guest, or I don't know. These are all things where we're just we need to get the nuts and bolts part of it figured out before we can then start deciding on, if we're going to do seasonal themes or cultures, or there's just so many opportunities that we need to be really focused. And that's kind of what we're working on now to make it really seamless and make sense. So.
Absolutely. And we are so excited to see what comes of it. So now next, I'm going to hand it to Tony to talk a little bit more about investments.
Yeah, so I was mainly just, again, in the being very transparent. We had mentioned this before, and part of the reason is to get everyone on this call and all the creators to be shareholders, is so that there can be some sort of success as FoodSocial expands and grows, and that all of you actually have a stake in that. And one of the steps in that is going through an investment. We had mentioned that, I think, on the last call. And so we're going to be doing that over the next 3 months. We've been putting together like an investment deck, and we'll be reaching out to different types of investors, particularly ones that, are looking at technologies that are disruptive in new areas like food. And I think of food and social media for FoodSocial is really two areas where, if you look out there, it's so broken, and that's why we started FoodSocial, is to create something for all of you to be able to run. And so we'll be providing information in the form of emails to all of you. It's not anyone you are already shareholders. So it's if you know others that may be interested in FoodSocial and want to give us a a contact or an introduction, we would definitely be happy to talk to them and give the whole business plan. When we do get the business plan finalized, we'll actually share it with all the creators as well, because again, it's all of your platform. Whether, like, I think when we started this, everyone, kind of comes on board and says, okay, great, I put my recipes here, hopefully I get money. The goal is that as we grow, everyone realizes that, hey, look, this is actually mine. And so this platform, the growth of it and the success is going to relate in my success. And so that's what we really want to happen. And the investment process is actually one extra step in that. So you'll see some information on it over the next couple months. And that was really about it. I think that the last thing that I just wanted to mention, which a few of you already have done it, is that we have a daily call at noon Eastern time. And really anyone's welcome, either to stop in, ask questions, get involved in something that sounds interesting, or share an idea that you saw out there that's interesting. So we'll continue to reach out. And again, there's definitely no need to join if you don't want to, but it's always available. And the more of all of you that give input, the better FoodSocial continues to be. So.
And I'll drop that call link in Slack just so that nobody has to go hunting for it or asking for it. Truly is a drop in, and just join if you want to. You can even just listen in and stay off camera and do whatever you need to do, eat lunch or what have you.
You can see Bill's kids usually a lot. We haven't seen him on this call, but
I can't believe it. Knock on wood.
You just jinxed it, Tony.
There's still 13 minutes
they're
left.
Great. I love when we get to see them. So.
Yeah. But yeah, just want this to be open and transparent, and love it when people join and bring in their perspectives too, because that's really the beauty of doing FoodSocial, is having multiple perspectives and getting you all to give your input helps make this even better. So I'll drop that in Slack sometime in the next day or so. I'll just sort of take it from here, actually, just because there's only a little bit left, and then I'd love to open it up for questions here. But we're just sort of one bullet that's sort of still out there is we're always looking to expand the opportunities for creators and brands to collab. So it's going to be a part of the portal there too, but our Slack workspace is a great place to start with that. And we've already seen creators and brands on the platform link up and work together, which is great. We love that. We're always here to help support any campaigns that brands might have, whether you're doing a new product launch, like we've worked with brands on this call before, if they want to get products out for, certain launches. So we're always here to help with that. And we can even do, further work with you to help support your campaigns. So just putting that out there that, we're here to help facilitate like those connections. We think that, again, being a part of a community here is very meaningful. And so anything that we can do to help there is something that we want to do. And if there are things that you think of that we could be doing that could help, let us know. Finally, the sort of last little bullet for the 2023 roadmap is just sort of creating some more robust utility for the platform. And so one that's super important, we've talked about scalability so many times on this call. Like for me personally, like that's the word that I keep like running in my head when I think of like, how are we guiding things this year? Because we really want to keep growing, like this 200%, year over year growth. That's something we want to continue. And so one part of that scalability is streamlining the recipe upload page. And I think that's going to be so important because not only the creators who are tirelessly adding recipes, like some people on this call who are kicking serious butt, I won't name names, but they're definitely on the Brady Bunch grid here. We just want to make that easier, right? And that's part of what will make things, it'll make it easier for us to scale too, is if so I'll speak specifically to it. The functionality that we would love to have is you put in a URL of where the recipe is already shared on your platform. and it will try and auto-populate it for you. So we kind of have a very primitive version of this that requires some coding that I very carefully do sometimes through an SSH portal. But we would like to have that be a front-end functionality so that people can more quickly upload their recipes. So we're working on that.
Bill, I had a question. Is there still going to be the opportunity to also upload just a recipe that doesn't exist somewhere else?
100%, 100%.
Okay.
This is really just like, what, you know how like when you go and like order something online and it like auto fills your address, like
Yeah.
that's sort of what I'm envisioning, where it just sort of helps populate the fields and you can go back and edit it, but that full view will still be there so that the
Okay.
FoodSocial specific recipes, which we love,
Yeah.
you can still do that. And it can,
Okay.
you know, I'd love for the utility to be at a place where FoodSocial is the most upstream piece of content that you create. And we build the tools that make distributing it really simple. So those
Okay.
are, that's another sort of piece of that goal, is making that really helpful.
Awesome.
And then also for utility, we'd love to make a more robust search on the platform too. So right now the search is okay. I would give it a C. We want it to be an A. And so we're working with our developer there to make a more robust search engine on the platform. Because as the recipes and content expand and creators expand, we want people to be able to find what they're looking for more readily. So we can see the searches that are being run on the platform. And so that's sort of going to help guide it as well. So that will probably be second half of the year. But really, the things that are very important right now in terms of the roadmap would be tools that make scaling more easy, and also stickiness, so that your followers and users that are coming to the platform can follow people, the follow is meaningful, and there are ways to bring people back to the platform over and over again to engage with the content. Because sooner or later, people are going to realize that this is like an amazing place for recipes and meal plans. And we want that to like click in their heads so they keep coming back over and over. And I find that me, myself, like I'll be in the grocery store, I'll be like, I really want to make this type of dish. And I'm remembering to go to FoodSocial to look for it. And like, I think that's a really good sign, because I feel so scatterbrained. And it's like, I'm remembering over and over that, oh yes, like we have an amazing population of recipes that are curated and vetted. Like I'm going to check there first. So we are building the tools that back up that user habit of remembering that stickiness. And so those are some of the things that we're working on this year. And like we said before, we're always open to suggestions. We'd love to invite people to come on to the midday call and give us their input and their insights. We think that's very important. And even right now, I think that's sort of, unless Haley or Tony have anything further, a great opportunity to open up the floor for anyone else that might have insights. And we don't have to stop at the top of the hour, but I'd love to keep it on the shorter side, just for anyone who, if you need to leave, you can, of course, but I'd love to hear if there are any thought bubbles or feedback on anything we've talked about. So. Don't be shy.
One thing I was just going to mention was actually for the brand specifically. I don't know if we mentioned the past quarter. We have contextual ads which go with the recipes that have your ingredients, and sometimes there are ingredients that are very close or related or similar. And so we've created an ability to have similar, or I think the words are foodies also viewed. Or something like that, but a way to have your ad go on recipes that have similar type products as well. So you'll see that, and if there's certain ingredients that seem really interesting that you've known from your marketing of your products that make sense to be paired with, say, Georgia Grinders peanut butter or the chocolate, just let us know and we can make sure it's in there.